Yo, what's up my peoples, it's your boy LEEMAN-X here, and I figured I'd do a video about the fighting game Darkstalkers. It's one of those fighting games I always liked, but I never owned it. For whatever reason, I never got around to owning it until recently, and I figured I'd do a playthrough along with some history of each player I'm fighting against, and a little history and background about the game. If I can get a quick like or subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate that, and let's go ahead and dive into this. So what we'll be playing is Darkstalkers Revenge, which is the second game in the Darkstalkers series. The original Darkstalkers game came out in 1994, and actually the first time I ever saw that game was at Raging Waters in California, at the arcade there. And I already was a huge Street Fighter nerd, and I saw this game, I was like, what's this other Capcom game? And I was into it ever since. It just was never on like Super Nintendo or anything like that, so I never really got to play it as much as I wanted to. But anyways, this is the second game of the series that came out in 1995, so the sequel to that. It was developed and released by Capcom, and the sequel was made Darkstalkers 3 in 1997. So the character we're going to choose in this playthrough is Felicia. And I used to always pick her because she reminds me of a character from Samurai Showdown I used to always choose, Cham Cham. I don't know if this game decided to copy Samurai Showdown and just make their own Catwoman person. That's probably what happened, I wouldn't be surprised. So a little bit of background on Felicia is she is from the United States. Her race is Catwoman. Her birth year is 1967, height is 5'6", weight 128 pounds. A little side story or backstory I should say on her is that she actually wishes to be a singing star. She was raised by her sister who passed away, and then she left her hometown to pursue her dream, but she knew there's prejudice because of her race as a Catwoman and being a Darkstalker. But she tries to remain positive and keep her dream alive that one day the world will accept her for who she is and she'll become a music star. So next we'll get into Sasquatch, this big beast we're fighting right now. His race is Bigfoot. He's from Canada, born in 1903, height 5'8", 397 pounds. I would think that he'd at least be like 6'5" or 7 foot tall, but I guess I'm not the one that made this, so what do I know? And the story behind him, he lived deep in the Rocky Mountains of Canada, and he sensed extraterrestrial powers because of the other fighter, or the extraterrestrial called Pyron, and he set out to discover the source of that power. Sasquatch is a very proud member of his race. He has supernatural abilities to control water and turn it into ice through his body when fighting. He can sense the energy of others miles away, has good hearing far greater than humans. Also, his favorite food is bananas. So next up we have Jon Talbain, or Gallon. He's the werewolf, and he's actually my second favorite character that I would always pick. So Gallon's backstory is that his mother was a human and his father was a werewolf. His mother died shortly after giving birth to him, and he never knew his father. I guess he grew up with a very peaceful life until one night there was a full moon and he transformed into a werewolf, and he was shunned from society for being a werewolf, but I guess he never let it get to him, and he tried to remain peaceful and keep his humanity in hopes that if he was able to do that, maybe that might help trigger or reverse the spell that turns him into a werewolf, and maybe he could stay human. Legend has it that after Pyron was defeated, Talbain's supernatural form was lifted and he regained his humanity. And even though he regained his humanity, they still didn't trust him and he was still shunned, but the only ones that didn't fear him was children. And after many years, he says he heard a voice in his head and he turned back into a werewolf, and that's when he discovered it would be impossible for him to get rid of the curse. So next we have Hsien-Ko. a Chinese girl from China, born in 1730, 5 foot 195 pounds. Her backstory is really interesting, and I actually always like her mannerisms when she's idle and how she like twists her head and stuff and rolls her neck and all that like while she's idle. It's just like really weird and awkward. She's a weird character too, and I like that about her. So anyways, so she has a sister named Mei Ling, and they were twins born in a village in China. They were taught martial arts, and they had great respect from all the people in the village. One night their village was attacked by Darkstalkers and their master was murdered. Their mother gave her life to protect them, but because of this, her soul was trapped in darkness by their powers. To release their mother's soul from darkness, Hsien-Ko used a technique to turn into Jiang Shi. Mei Ling's older sister turns into a ward that makes sure that Hsien-Ko lose control of her darker half. The two set off to hunt down Darkstalkers who attack their people and help innocent people as Darkstalkers of the Night. Next up we have Victor, or Victor von Gerdenheim. Victor is a Frankenstein. He's from Germany, born in 1930, 8 foot 2, 507 pounds. Victor's backstory is he was created by Professor von Gerdenheim, and he also had another creation named Emily. The both of them were created together, and both of Emily and Professor von Gerdenheim can act as assist characters for Victor during combat. Victor is a happy-go-lucky person. He loves his sister and loves helping his sister. He gets pissed when people start hurting her or do anything to threaten her. He really looks up to Donovan, actually one of the other fighters in the game. When he is talking to others, he refers to himself in the third person. Victor's special power is a bolt of lightning through his body. He can jump super high and also has great strength for fighting and wrestling. He uses his internalized electric energy to enlarge, strengthen the weight behind his blows and melee attacks. Next we have Demitri, also known as Demitri Maximoff. He is a vampire, and he's the main protagonist in the series. He's from Romania, born in 1483, 6 foot 6, 223 pounds. His background story is pretty cool, very vampire-ish, but it's very cool. And his backstory is that he was a vampire who lived in a castle and got banished from the castle because he lost a fight to Belial. After that fight exiled him out of his own castle, and it turns out that his daughter, the daughter of Belial I should say, is Morrigan. Now we'll come to this later and get into Morrigan. He's pissed. Demitri was banished from his own castle. He's pissed off. So he heard about the alien power of Pyron, and he seeks to actually consume Pyron in his blood to make himself stronger. So he has some pretty cool powers. So Demitri is one of the most dangerous vampires in the Darkstalkers series, second to only Dracula. He's able to turn people into vampires like himself with control, summon supernatural bats and attack foes, transform into a vampire version of himself or a small bat, and fly through the night, as well as turn opponents into women, both human or supernatural alike. Next up we have Rikuo. Rikuo is a merman from Brazil, born in 1953, 6 foot, 137 pounds. He actually was the emperor of some mer people that lived underneath the Amazon. There was 30,000 merfolk that he ruled over. One day there was an earthquake and shattered his entire empire, and he was the lone survivor. Eventually he learned that his empire was destroyed by Pyron, and he was the cause of his people dying. He found one other follower, female, and they started a family together, and of course he vowed to take down Pyron. And that's his main motivation in game, to get revenge. Rikuo has many supernatural skills, such as the ability to transform into different kinds of sea life, namely fish, crustaceans, and amphibians. He's an extremely fast swimmer. He can call upon other oceanic creatures to help him. Next we have Donovan, or Donovan Baine. His story is pretty cool. I feel like they should make a movie on him, like a live action movie. I know they have the anime, but he seems like he has a really cool live action movie type of story. And so a lot is unknown about him, but he's a half-breed, half vampire, half human. During his childhood, something evil caused the vampire in him to come out, and he killed his entire village, including his mother. He later devoted himself to Buddhism to try to fight for justice and learned skills with the help of monks and ninjas. During his travels, he met a girl named Anita. He could tell that Anita was just like him, and he wanted to save her and save her soul, so they became friends, and he travels with her, and they hunt down Darkstalkers together. So he's said to be someone who's extremely wise and has some pretty cool powers. So his supernatural abilities, such as using the blade to fly around the air, he can actually control the blade. He also can control fire, air, and water. He can move in sunlight because he's half human. So unlike the other vampires that can't, he can, which is awesome. And his blade actually has supernatural abilities and makes him stronger. And that blade kicks ass. And next we have Lord Raptor. This guy's like, how can you forget this guy? A ghoul with a guitar that can kind of use like rock and roll powers, electricity to defeat you. Like, he just stood out. He always has stood out for me, and he's a pretty cool character. Whoever came up with him is pretty brilliant. So he's a zombie from Australia, born in 1889, 5'11", 86 pounds. He basically was a servant of an emperor that took notice of him and revived him for his own evil plans. The emperor told him that if he wants to get stronger, he needs to defeat the Darkstalkers and collect their souls. So Lord Raptor decided to do that, but he had his own plans to take over the emperor. So this guy has some really interesting powers. He pretty much sounds like unbeatable. To me, he should be the last boss of the game with all the powers this guy has. So check this out. So he has the unique power to change into a human from his zombie form. As a human, he's still really strong. It says he can even take out a building. He can knock out a Darkstalker with one single punch. In battle, he can unleash his true power by transforming into a ravenous ghoul. His strength, speed, mobility reach the maximum level, and supernatural as well. As a zombie, Lord Raptor can generate electricity and empower himself and his attacks. Has an evil scream, a death voltage which can drain energy from his foes due to the high voltage. Control and bend in different shapes. His limbs can reach out far and do dodging attacks. This combined with the ability to transform his limbs into blades, drills, demonic faces, and chainsaws makes him a hard approach in combat. If he ever is heavily damaged, he can basically heal himself and bring himself back to life. He has his demonic guitar as a way to produce sound waves loud enough to damage an opponent, or if he wants to be more precise with his target, shoot lasers from the headstock of his instruments. Lord Raptor can also play supernatural tunes to put his enemies under a spell. So next we have Huitzil. Huitzil's a Mexican robot, which is really cool. Born in 5'20", 7'3", 1,005 pounds. He actually was created 65 million years ago by Pyron. So he was around when the dinosaurs were around, and his mission, or his programming, was to obliterate everything. And what happened was So what happened is a massive earthquake trapped everything under the earth, and he laid there dormant for thousands and thousands of years. Until the Mayans came and he was unearthed by them. And when Pyron returns to present day, he actually revived the robot as well and wanted to carry out his original commands, but the robot malfunctioned and thinks that his orders are to guard a young Mayan boy named Cecil. So Cecil and Huitzil become best friends, and Cecil is protected at all times by Huitzil, which is a really cool story. That's another story I wish was a actual movie or something like that. These are pretty good stories behind these characters. And finally we have Pyron, the being that's caused all this drama for all the other Darkstalkers fighters. So Pyron is an alien from a planet known as Hellstorm. After evolving over many years, he became a powerful alien who can control fire and has his own orbital span that stretches over 400,000 light years. After traveling across the cosmos and beyond, he landed deep within the Atlantic Ocean to wait for the right time to consume the planet Earth. He originally came when the dinosaurs were around. It's unknown why Pyron didn't consume the planet back then. Maybe he decided after fighting worthy foes he would leave the planet in peace and come back later when they're even stronger for another good worthy fight. Nobody really knows. Pyron's powers include the ability to fly at super speeds beyond light. He can consume worlds and fill his body. He could shapeshift. He's made of pure solar energy, cannot be harmed by normal means of attacks. He has super strength and speed to dodge bullets, highly durable to withstand hard attacks. He can fly in the air. He can create flame-based people and create any version of himself as well. He can enhance the heat of his flames to higher levels to match that of a supernova. He has the ability to sense life forces from other beings, and he can also absorb solar energy. So the aim of this video was to cover a brief history and abilities of each person I encountered along the way on my playthrough here. But unfortunately, as you can see, I didn't even get to fight the most popular player in the series, who is Morrigan Aensland. So I'm definitely going to cover a little bit about her, and let's go ahead and dive into it. She was born in Scotland in 1668 as a succubus child. Her adopted father is Belial, who is an evil overlord that we actually talked about earlier, who defeated Demitri. Belial adopted Morrigan to be his successor. Morrigan is a Class S noble, but even as a young child she struggled with her powers because she was so powerful it was hard to control them. One night she was drawn to the strange power from Pyron and ventured into the human world again. After she came back from the human world, she was told that Belial died and she was next successor to his throne. So now let's talk about her powers. So she was born as an S-class demon. She possesses many powers like teleporting, flying, reshaping her wings into spikes and blades. She has some mystical abilities like a soul attack against her adversaries, such as the Soul Fist. She has the ability to create a physical mirror image of herself to aid her in battle. And last, she has the magical power to become the face of a fighting game franchise. So there's a couple of characters that I didn't get to fight and go over their history, but I will do more Darkstalkers videos like this, and I'll cover those characters. There's only 2 of them that I wasn't able to cover. Here's a look at Felicia's ending, and thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.